Good morning and welcome everyone. My name is Timothy Lee and I'm a mining analyst here at Red Cloud Securities. We welcome David Russell, President and CEO of Galleon Gold. He will speak to us about Galleon's West Cache gold project in the Timmins camp, where the company is pushing forward with development and also still has a significant exploration upside potential. Dave, you have 10 minutes and then we'll have a 5-minute Q&A at the end of the session. And attendees, please feel free to ask questions using the Q&A link below. Take it away, Dave.
Well, thanks for the introduction, Tim. I'm a pleasure to be here with the Red Cloud Group and being able to present the project, as the West Cache project. We're located just quickly 13 kilometers west of Timmins. We're very close to the Pan American Silver's West Mine. Same structural trend, Desert Porcupine system. You'll hear about a new discovery, number 9 system. You'll hear about baseline studies, surveys we've done to go to lease. We've got a whole host of things underway, and it all leads into a PEA that's due out toward the end of the fourth quarter here. Now, looking at it is we're located so close to town. It's a dream job, really. You got airports, rail, hospital, miningly friendly environment, skilled workforce. We can draw on the geologists locally. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, and we've got a signed MOU with the First Nations, good rapport with them. We've got a lot of the same geology of the old Hollinger, McIntyre mines and that sort of thing. When you look at the system itself, on this slide here, the West Cache project is on the west, like near the Timmins West complex. That's the old Lakeshore, which is Pan American Silver. And then you come to the Dome mines. This is, 30, 40 million ounces of gold within this area. And if you put the template, the yellow area, which is us at West Cache, over the top, we have almost the same exploration area. So upside potential is very, very good here. And then I might comment on the Black Fox stock that I developed back in 2002 through 2008. This mine's been in production since then. McEwen Mining is actually mining there now. This is a structural trend for more of the geology guys that like to look at the mineralization. It's a pyrite, sphalerite, chalcopyrite stringers that we're dealing with here. And some of the area that we're going to look at, we'll talk about is the West Deep area, very high grade system that shows that this system does go to depth on me. We're looking at 7 to 8 kilometers, but we're actually only drilling about 1,975 meters along strike right now. And that we have dips real similar to the norm, 60 to 80 degrees dipping from the south to the north. And the width on it right now looks like about 750 meters wide when you go south to north. We've got 570 core holes we inherited, all but say roughly about 350 core holes of that. We put in 460,000 meters since we did the merger with Explorer Resources. And that's where the property came from. And we've got 210,000 meters of core to work with for the database. Now, this is the database that we actually put out to the public. Now, this is just a start. We started with 1,079,000 ounces. We edited down, said we had about 700,000 ounces. We announced 1.3 million ounces here. I think if you add it up, it's 1.29 million ounces. Now, is that going to grow? I think it'll grow on the PEA. You'll hear that when we put the PR out more toward December of this year. You'll see those numbers grow. Well, this is a growing project. We're taking it one step at a time, again, with infill drilling of certain areas. We've got a lot of areas to still infill drill, but it's time to get this project off the ground, do some underground work. Now, there's underground being looked at. There's open pit to be looked at. We've got a high strip ratio because of sand and gravels that the glaciers, when it ripped it apart and buried us 20 to 40 meters in these areas. What I think you'll see in the PEA is more of, let's look at the underground first, and then let's look at the open pit. It'll be higher capital stripping. Let's push that down the road. But let's get a ramp system started to define the number 9 zone. That will be in this area here, number 9, and then you'll see the West Deep area here. We believe this area is tied together. There's about 500 meters we've got to drill. Now you look at the West pit, you look at the East pit, why don't they connect? Well, there's just not enough drilling in between to connect them together. So when we look at it, we say, okay, we've got to drill in between here once we get underground. Number 9, that's close to the surface right in here that we can attack first with the development stopes. And you take a look at it and you say, well, gee whiz, you can actually see the pyrite zones in here. We don't have a lot of free nuggety gold. That makes me feel better. You don't have gold theft from people putting gold in their pockets or pulling off the tables, that sort of thing. But you can see gold in microscopic units when you put it under a microscope. Now, this would be all the drilling within the open pit, east-west pit areas. And again, we'll design it where some of the underground comes up into the bottom of the pit areas and gets mined first. Now, another thing that we've done here too is we've actually put enough holes within the sediment units to actually do the metallurgical work. And you'll see here 6.1 grams at 15 meters, 8.2 grams at 13 meters. But then you look over here and you say high grade, medium grade, low grade. We actually cut the core and we were able to visually see the high grade, the mid grade, and the low grade. And where does that relate to? It relates to recoveries. As you can expect, the lower grades are probably 94 to 96%. Anything that was in the 5 gram to 21 gram range was much higher grade. So anyway, we were happy with the outcome. Quartz feldspar porphyries recover at 94 to 96%. We've got anywhere from 94% to 97% recoveries from the SGS labs on the review. This is more of an aerial view of all the holes. And this is where we've got the 2020 holes compared to the historic database of 344 holes here. So that makes up over 500 core holes. So that's a heck of a database to get started with on a mine. These are the structures coming through here. And you can see the interim units as you come through the structures. You can see number 9 over in this area here. So all I can say is, you know, it's lending itself to very close to surface, but I believe the system is going to depth here. And how did we get started on the project? Well, I looked at Explorer Resources database several years ago. I took it to Eric Sprott and said, hey, Eric, hey, take a look at these holes. And here we have, you know, they're deep, 670 meters, 400 meters, 220, 700, down to about 900 meters here. But you look at the widths, 11 meters, 4 meters, 11 meters, 4 meters, all the way down to, say, almost 8 meters of 115 gram gold here. That everything will support an underground mine on these grades, and you can actually visually see it. The pyrite, the chalcopyrite, some of the sphalerite, they're just marker beds. Everything looks great in this project. For the geologist here, we've got gray-black mudstones, but you can see the sphalerite markers. These are more marker beds. It doesn't bother any of the recoveries. You know, it is a base metal, but it's not much there to really talk about. It's mainly pyrite, chalcopyrite, and free gold in there. Now, where are we on the project? Well, number one is when you do a project, you've got to go drill it, get the database. We're there. We've got the internal modeling done with the P&E consultants. We've gone to survey. That is one of the biggest things here, is whether you can get the land survey done and go to lease. That's a monumental task to get done. The surveying is complete. The ministry has got it now. It'll be signed off. We'll say converting to lease probably by January of 2022. That'll lend itself to permitting an underground ramp system to do a bulk sample. We'll have to do a mine closure plan, get that accepted along with that. And the baseline studies, they've been underway for several years now. We're way up the curve. Now we will develop the full closure plan for the open pit, for the underground, and that'll lend itself to several different design comparatives within the PEA. And you look at the PEA over here. Again, we're incorporating over 213 new core holes with the old over 300 core holes with that for a database that's very, very large. Now, how large can it get? Well, stay tuned for when we develop, say, the next 2 kilometers on this property to the north, east, and southwest area as we add ounces to the picture. So we're not closing anything off. We're open on strike. We're open on dip. And we're open in the north direction and the south direction, since the systems run pretty much east-west here. We do have First Nations consultations. We've done a tremendous amount of studies that will lead us then to pre-feasibility study level to get us from the first PEA economics onto bankable feasibility, probably by 2024-25 range. We've got 470 million shares outstanding. The options, you add them up, 648. We do have shareholder approval to go to lease on the, or excuse me, to go to a reconsolidation on this property. We have some crude liability on the balance sheet, not much. This stems from cleaning up some CRA issues with flow-through financing, but for debt-wise, we owe nobody any money. So we're poised to take this company forward. Eric Sprott's 23%, CCM Capital's 14%, insiders are 4 or 5. Retail is about 59%. So what we need is shareholders to get interest in our company, and we'll take that forward when we turn the PEA out. So what I can say, what we have for investing is we've got number one, a premier mining jurisdiction, the Timmins Camp. We've got an updated mineral resource. We'll have a PEA out to the market. So that'll be the first economics on this project. Again, there's no mines have been ever developed on this because it's been buried under glacial alluvium. It's really a new discovery. We'll have the bulk sampling underway in 2022. We'll have upside blue sky exploration. Sprott's been backing us all along here, and I believe he'll continue to do so. And we've got a proven management experienced team. We've got myself, we've got many directors that have been with me on other boards, like Michael Hobart, a lawyer out of Fogel Rubinoff in Toronto, Thomas Kaufman, M Partners, Gerhard Merkel, business guy out of Germany. Dick Nanham was my former vice president of exploration and development. And he was responsible for the Black Fox project, as well as the Getchell Gold project in Nevada. And then we've got James T. O'Neill, a finance fellow. So with that, we've got a great team. With me, I have Lisa Buchan with me today, Vice President of Corporate Development. I call her my Vice President of everything. So we'll open it up, Tim, for questions and try to answer anything you have.
Great. Thank you very much for the great presentation, Dave. We do have a question or two. I guess one is, I think you had press released it, but what does the timing look like for the PEA?
Okay, timing right now, we're a little behind where we'd like to be. We always want it yesterday, but P&E consultants are saying they should have it done by the, we'll say the end of November, early December. So we're telling everybody probably December toward the end of the fourth quarter here. Give them a little bit of extra leeway. They've done a great job of remodeling. They're doing comparatives between open pit, underground, when they're sequenced, whether you build a mill on the site now or do it later, that sort of thing, or use custom milling to get started with. But timing wise, you'll see it by December, and that should define the economics.
Great. And obviously drilling, you've done quite a bit of drilling in the first half of the year, but then it's kind of taking a break from the drilling side of things here. What would you expect the timing to be to get back with the drill rigs?
Okay, and if the geologists could do it, they'd be drilling right now. What I'd like to do is get the ground frozen again, and probably about January, February, let's say, we've done with the PEA, we're looking at, okay, the capital, what do we need to do to ramp? Then I'll incorporate capital for surface drilling. We'll go back to some of those blank areas that we need to infill drill. So we'll be adding to the database. So from say the 1.3 million ounces, I'd like to start adding, X number of ounces every 6 to 12 months and keep the update of the PEA and the new resource base going. So say first, second quarter, look for new drilling on the property to get going.
Great. And then one question on the resource. Some of the, obviously there were some fantastic drill holes, and the zone number 9 was a great discovery, but some of the underground is a little lower grade as well. Would you be prioritizing kind of some of the higher grade areas for the initial production? Absolutely.
First thing we're going to do is go down to about the 120 to 150 meter level. We'll set up the stopes right in the middle of the higher grade areas. We'll look at rock mechanics. We'll look at grade control. We'll look at what we can deliver to a custom mill there. That'll set the template for the pre-feasibility to the bankable feasibility level. Now, in saying that, what happens on global resource base when companies turn them out, they're smeared. Okay, in the PEA, we'll better define on wireframing what the grades really are. So on the PEA, look for higher grades in the underground, look for higher grades in the pit, but also look for what ounces are economic. Okay, that's the key, is when you have a global resource, not all those ounces are economic. If you have somebody comes out with 2 million, everybody goes, God, that's great. Well, I look at it and say, yeah, well, maybe there's only 1 million ounces economic in there. And that's what you'll be seeing, is a complete edit or wireframing of the ore bodies of what's really economic, and you will see those grades coming up.
Great. Thank you again, Dave, and thank you everyone for joining us today.